Welcome to CARICOMP Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence.
Starting in June, every PlayStation account in the UK and Ireland will require an age check to use voice chat, messaging, or any communication feature. Sony's giving players three options: a facial scan powered by a company called Yoti, a government ID upload, or mobile phone verification. Millions of gamers, many of them kids, are about to put their faces in front of a camera just to talk to their friends online. If you've ever handed a controller to your child, or if you've ever used voice chat yourself, this one's for you. Sony didn't dream this up on its own. The UK's Online Safety Act went into effect in August 2025, and it requires platforms to verify users' ages. Xbox started rolling out its own system back in July 2025. Sony's following suit with the June 2026 deadline. And California's Digital Age Assurance Act, signed late last year, requires age checks at account creation starting January 1, 2027, which means this isn't staying in the UK. Sony's own emails to players reference global regulations. The real story isn't one company adding a new login step. It's that governments are building the legal scaffolding for facial biometric checks across every major consumer platform, and the platforms are complying. So the question running through all of this is straightforward. Once the cameras are on, what else do they get used for? Sony's version is actually narrower than what other companies have tried. PlayStation's age gate only restricts communication features, voice chat, messaging, that kind of thing. It doesn't block game purchases or store access. That's a deliberate choice, and it's probably why Sony hasn't faced the same backlash that hit Discord and Roblox. Discord announced platform-wide age verification and watched users leave. Subscriptions got canceled. The company eventually delayed its rollout to the second half of 2026 and promised more transparency about how it collects data. Roblox ran into its own implementation problems. Sony, by keeping the scope tight, avoided that kind of friction, at least so far. Now the facial scan option. The technology behind it is called facial age estimation, and it's different from facial recognition. Facial recognition tries to figure out who you are. Age estimation just tries to figure out how old you are. It analyzes features like wrinkles and skin texture, and AI models can typically estimate someone's age within about 2 to 3 years. According to NIST benchmarking, the average error for estimating whether someone is 18 is roughly a year and a quarter under controlled conditions. A year and a quarter. That's actually more precise than most people would guess. Yoti, the company providing Sony's facial scan, says its system doesn't store identifiable data. It estimates your age and discards the image. Supporters argue that makes it more privacy protective than uploading a government ID, which creates a database of documents tied to real identities. But accuracy isn't uniform across everyone. The Electronic Frontier Foundation has criticized facial age estimation for performing worse on minorities and women. NIST's own 2024 report flagged those demographic gaps. If you're a teenage girl with darker skin, the system might not read your age as reliably as it does for a 30-year-old white man. That's not a hypothetical. It's in the data. For compliance teams, that creates legal exposure. For families, it means your kid might get locked out of talking to friends, or waved through when they shouldn't be, depending on how the algorithm reads their face. There's another layer. Researchers at Syracuse University have pointed out that these systems are, in their words, highly susceptible to spoofing. Someone can hold up a printed photo, a silicone dummy face. Simple presentation attacks can fool the camera. So the system that's supposed to keep kids safe can be beaten by a teenager with a printer. That raises a hard question about whether these laws actually protect minors or just create the appearance of protection while normalizing biometric data collection. And the momentum is building fast. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have all committed to a safer gaming initiative. California's law kicks in at the start of 2027. Multiple U.S. states and countries adopted similar legislation through 2025. Within the next 12 months, facial age checks could be standard across gaming, social media, and streaming platforms. The part most people haven't thought through is this. None of this was driven by user demand. No wave of gamers asked Sony to scan their faces. Regulation created the requirement, and compliance built the infrastructure. Once that infrastructure exists across hundreds of millions of accounts, the cameras, the AI models, the legal frameworks, the cost of expanding it to new purposes drops to almost nothing. The question stops being, should we collect facial data, and becomes, how narrowly can we limit what it's used for? So governments told platforms to verify ages. Platforms built systems that scan your face. Those systems now sit inside the accounts of millions of people who never asked for them. Whether you're evaluating vendor contracts or just setting up your kid's PlayStation, the same thing matters. The camera's already pointed at you. What it gets used for next depends on decisions being made right now, in legislatures, in boardrooms, and on your screen. The written version goes deeper, links below.
Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, caracomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.